with that crash at Leslie in the 401. 3 kids, 2 adults in hospital after that serious crash on the 401 this morning. Now, as Carrie had mentioned, the eastbound collector lanes at Leslie have now just reopened. That's where the crash happened just after midnight. All 3 children were sent to Sick Kids Hospital, including a toddler under the age of 2 years old in serious condition. The 2 other children and the 2 adults suffered minor injuries. The OPP is still investigating what exactly happened. And again, those lanes have now reopened since that crash happened. And we do have some break-in commuter news for you as well. There's a delay at Wilson Station due to a mechanical problem. Shuttle buses are now running between Vaughan Station and Wilson Station if you're just heading out, so keep that in mind. They're having an issue getting the trains out of the Wilson yard right now because of signal issues. They're working on it, but in the meantime, again, shuttle buses are running between Vaughan Metropolitan Centre and Wilson Station. Now, Toronto police are investigating a possible case of arson in Etobicoke after a vehicle caught fire at a Cineplex parking lot this morning. Flames broke out at Islington and the Queensway just before 1 o'clock. You can see here there were significant burns to the car's engine and right side. Toronto Fire doused the sparks before police towed the vehicle away while the owner was inside watching a movie. A 16-year-old boy is facing charges after a car went out of control and crashed into an apartment building on Rankin Crescent near Bloor and Lansdowne. It happened around 12:30 this morning. Fortunately, though, no one was inside that apartment that was directly struck, and there were no reports of any injuries. The damage will have to be checked out by structural engineers to determine if it's safe. There's no word on the exact charges at this point, but drugs and alcohol are not believed to be factors. A headache for drivers heading into or out of the downtown core today and for the next few weeks. Carrie had mentioned it in traffic as well. Jarvis will be restricted to 1 lane, both north and southbound from now until October, all the way from Dundas to Queen. That'll start again at 7 o'clock this morning. You're looking at live images right now of cars being able to get through. But keep in mind, in just an hour's time, that will shut down and be just restricted to 1 lane between Dundas and Queen. A couple of teenage boys now facing charges after climbing a crane in Toronto's Midtown. A CityNews viewer shot this video just after 9 last night of 2 teens climbing on a crane on top of a high-rise condo on Redpath. That's near Yonge and Eglinton. Police responded and arrested 2 boys aged 15 and 16. Both teens are facing mischief charges. As we first told you last week, the city's Board of Health is expected to back a call today to decriminalize all drugs for personal use. The city's chief medical officer of health says it's one step in trying to fight the opioid crisis. Dr. Eileen Devia wants the city to lobby Ottawa to decriminalize all drugs for personal use. She also wants a more concerted effort on drug prevention, harm reduction, and treatment services. She's hoping for a more public health approach rather than a criminal approach to fighting addiction. Last year, just over 300 people died of an opiate overdose in Toronto. On the heels of the U.S. charging a dozen Russian intelligence hackers with interfering with the last American election, President Donald Trump meets face-to-face today with Vladimir Putin. The 2 are to meet in Helsinki, Finland, their first official summit between the 2. The meeting comes at the end of a European tour for Trump, in which he's been blasted for constantly criticizing his allies. Trump says he will raise the issue of the 12 Russian hackers, but doesn't seem keen to press Putin much on it. Moscow has denied any involvement. Critics are calling on Trump to cancel the meeting, but he says he's going ahead with it, despite holding out little hope for progress.
With low expectations, I'm not going with high expectations. I can't tell you what's going to happen. It's an honor to be with you.
The 2 men have met before, but it's been on the sidelines of multinational talks. There's no formal agenda this morning. The 2 are expected to hold a news conference following their meeting at 9:50 a.m. our time. And it's 6:08 our time right now. We're over to Winston and Mel next.